Hey guys, it's Ferociousllama, and I'm back again with, this time with a modern deck. Basically, it was several months ago, I came across a PTQ, before they did the PPTQ thing. It was one of the last couple of months of regular PTQs, before they started doing the pre-PTQ and then the regional PTQ. And I came across this list that won. It top aided a PTQ, and it was a elf deck, and it didn't run Collected Company, but it did have, because Collected Company hadn't been printed yet, but it did have a couple of other cards that I don't have in this build. They had Craterhoof Behemoth and, oh god, what's that guy called? The Regal something or other? The guy that draws you a card for every creature you control. I forget what he is. It's like 7 mana though, and he's a big old 5/5 or something. I just don't think it works that well in this deck. It really makes it more of a combo deck, which it's too easy to interrupt with all the Path to Exiles and Lightning Bolts. So, but anyway, I played that deck a little bit. But then when Collected Company came out, I was like, ooh, I remember. I'm gonna try this out with Collected Company, because this could be insane. Because basically, it's 18 land, 2 Cavernous Souls, 4 Elvish Mystics. 3 Elvish Mystics and 3 Llanowar Elves. So there's 6 mana Elves, couple of heritage, 4 Heritage Druids, 4 Nettle Sentinels, and then Jirago Warcallers, which is the guy that has multi-kicker, and he gets +1/+1 counter for each time it was kicked, and everything else I control gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. So he's essentially a Lord for 3 mana. And for 5 mana, he's a double Lord, which is, that's when things get really out of control. Just remember, because you gotta have some removal. You just can't, you really can't play Modern without some removal. It's just how it is. Because you're going to lose those, that's one of the things I'm very critical about in Modern, is you're going to lose to what I call a stupid combo deck, like Splinter Twin, where you go, end of turn, my turn 3, I play a land, and then I pass turn, then, okay, end of your turn, I'm going to play my stupid guy, my Deceiver Exarch, and tap your land, or whatever, and then the next turn I'm going to play Splinter Twin and win. You just can't beat that, unfortunately, unless you have removal. Takes a lot of the fun out of the game, because I think that's sort of one of the problems with Modern, and I don't want to go on a rant here, but I know I'm gonna, is that the big problem with Modern is they say, okay, well, we don't want anyone to win before turn 4 reliably, because that's a reasonable amount of time. The problem is, in order to be competitive, you essentially have to have an infinite combo on turn 4 to win. And that's my problem with Modern. Anyway, irrelevant. What is relevant is this is a Modern deck that I was playing, and it was a lot of fun, and I was kicking ass. It's got 3 Reclamation Sages to go along with the Court of Calling and the Collected Company. It's all around versatile removal. I mean, hey, I would run Naturalize sometimes, but he's an elf too, so you can't beat that. It's like a Disenchant or a Naturalize plus an elf. A 2/1 elf for 1 mana, which is pretty good. Then we got Imperious Perfect, basically a Lord, and I've only used his ability to make elves a few times. Usually when it's against the, like the creature deck kind of mirrors, where there's a lot of, where there's just a stalemate, and he just puts you over the top because he starts making 2/2 tokens, and then if you have, naturally you'd have more than one Lord out, and you end up with a whole bunch of tokens that are, 3/3, 4/4, some 5/5 sometimes, and then you're not losing from that point. Even against like the black-white tokens deck, you can beat that with with Reclamation Sages and Court of Calling and Collected Company, because you just get all 3 Reclamation Sages out, and then they've got guys smaller than yours, and then you kill them. And if you wait long enough, you'll be able to do it with Imperious Perfect and just out token them essentially, because you got to figure each card they draw makes on average probably two tokens, and or they're gonna die to their own Bitter Blossom. So in a big stalemate. But anyway, that's never happened. But it could. And then we got Elves Archdruid, which is, he's kind of our, I think he's our best lord in this deck, because he gives our guys +1/+1, which every elf lord has to do, and he taps for a whole bunch of mana, which is sweet. A lot of times people will overvalue him and kill him. I mean, he is our best lord, but in certain matchups, Elvis Champion is actually our best lord because he gives all the elves Forest Walk. He's terrible in the mirror, because a lot of the other decks just are designed to play a lot of 1/1s, and they tend to get in early hits of damage sooner than we will. But we have like a better like mid game, I suppose, and late game than they do. But unfortunately, Elvis Champion lets them so they don't, so we can't block them, and then we lose is what happens. Some of the time, it happened once. And then we got a couple of Azuris, because Azuri in a lot of decks that I've seen is kind of the centerpiece. But in my experience, he's just too clunky. He's 5 mana a lot. We're running 18 land in this deck, and we gotta have creatures to attack with, you know? So even attacking with, let's say we got a couple of 2 lords out, right? We have 2 lords, not an Elvish Archdruid though. Let's say we just have 2 lords out and an Azuri, and 3 weenies, 3 small elves. So we can, okay, so we tap them, we pay a couple mana and activate Azuri. So now what? We got 2 6/6s attacking. That's not that impressive for Modern. And then we got Collected Company, which is just insane. Like, it's so good. You guys will see it in this deck, and I've used it all the time. I use it at the end of our opponent's turn. I use it main phase if I want to get an extra damage. I've even used it as a combat trick. And that one's a little bit risky, because I think I've only whiffed with this deck one time with, I've only whiffed one time with a Collected Company, because I just played it and we whiffed. But most of the time you can reliably hit at least 1 lord, and sometimes 2 if you're having a good day. Much of the time you'll hit 2, actually, because there's a whole bunch of lords. There's 12, 15 lords in the deck, so 1 in 4 cards, and you're looking at 6 cards with Collected Company. So you should hit a couple of lords, at least 1 lord. So I've also used it to hit Reclamation Sage on a lord. That was pretty sweet, because it killed their pesky enchantment that was messing me up, and especially against like the burn matchup, because I can play Collected Company without taking any damage and get a Reclamation Sage and kill their stupid Eidolon that was jacking me all up. But anyway, that's the deck. Then we got our sideboard, which is 3 Nature's Claims, just for killing random enchantments like Ghostly Prison, stuff like that. 3 Beasts Within, kills everything, and they only get a 3/3, which isn't that big when we get a couple of lords out. Choke, because Choke is good against blue, because blue is our biggest problem, because they have an ability to tap stuff, and like Twin can tap Plan Exarch, tap our guys. But hey, that's fine, you can do that, but you got to pay a price, which is you're not untapping those lands again. So. And then decks like UWR Control. There's basically 3 big problem decks for this deck that are blue, and that's Scapeshift, because it plays lands and then kills you, which, that's the norm. That's how it has to be done in Modern, is you go turn 4 and kill your opponent, maybe turn 5. But you must kill your opponent all at once. You can't win the game like normal Magic, which that's my big critical thing about Modern. Anyway, I don't mean to go on about that. But you have Scapeshift, you got Twin, and you got UWR Control. And yeah, they have a lot of lightning bolts and stuff, but they run out of lightning bolts. And they always go for blue because they want to cast their cryptic commands, because they're greedy, greedy, greedy. And then I also have our guttural responses, which are good against any kind of blue deck. Keeps us from drawing cards, keeps us from countering stuff. These are great against cryptic commands, great against remand, because they think they're going to draw a card, slows down, they don't get to. Same thing with cryptic command, you don't get to draw a card. Sorry, man. And that's how you win, is by keeping them from able to play their cantripping counter spells, and you'll beat them. Anyway, this is the deck. It was super fun to play. I was playing it a lot like last week, and the reason I didn't post it was for some reason when the video rendered, I just said render and then went to bed because it was late. And when I woke up in the morning, it said it was at 100%, but it wasn't letting me open the file. And because it was going to be one long file, and I was going to chop it into pieces, one for each match. And I don't know how it happened, but there was some error, and so the file was no good and I couldn't use it. But then the very next day, after I was going to post these on, I don't know what day of the week that was probably a Monday I was going to post them. And on Monday on channelfireball.com, I think it was, or some within a day or two after that, they posted that, Elves with Collective Company on channelfireball.com. And as a result, everybody's prepared for it now. So anyway, let's play a game or a match. We'll play a few matches and we'll see how it goes.